March 2020, COVID lockdown. Trying for some, revelatory for us. The city got quiet, peaceful. You could hear all the birds. There were more birds. COVID was a mirror for us. We could see clearly what we needed. We had time off of work. We had time to reorganize our closet. That's a half joke. We live in a loft. We don't have a closet. But best of all, we had time with our dog and with each other. This gift of time together accelerated our dream of getting closer to nature, a dream we already had for the future, forward to the present. We were already spending all of our free time camping all season, including in -4 degrees Celsius, walking in forests, up mountains, renting cabins on Gulf Islands or anywhere remote. We would search out the ideal cabin setting and go to wherever that was. We could hear in our voices, move on. This is not you anymore. This is not prized work. Do work that matters. Make new work. Make real work. Be brave. Just put in the work. As a result of realizing our priorities, we decided to trade our apartment of 10 years and our city life for a home with a piece of land to steward. So we called our realtor and began to search for our new home. Unfortunately, we were not alone in this revelation. We quickly found that, evidently, there were many others forging a similar quest. Many, very rich others. COVID brought on an unprecedented spike in rural property prices, and with it, bidding wars that we couldn't compete with. Nevertheless, we tried, and we failed for years. Though unavoidable, these failures turned out not to be a total loss, as we have learned a lot from our many tribulations in real estate. We have also learned the true meaning of tenacity. The last year of our lives has brought much change and opportunity for growth. Included in these changes are our home and property expectations and our budget too. We have learned to rally, to persist, and to push through our lows. Every property viewing beginning dramatically with, "Once more into the breach, dear friends," then distilled down to bylaws, covenants, septic, water records, disclosures. We're practically building inspectors by now. Many priceless lessons have been taught to us through this process, making the hard times worth every tear. But now, we're planning a bolder step because we've learned enough. So after years, many bids, many losses, many ferry rides, many frustrations and disappointments, here we are in bed, having coffee together, looking at real estate listings. Now that the economic change in the form of inflation is driving the real estate market out of what we lovingly call the insanity zone, we are exiting the seller's market and entering a buyer's market in the areas we wish to reside. We can see listings like the following becoming only a bad memory. One-of-a-kind gem. This is the one you've been waiting for. 1-bedroom, half-bath, fixer-upper. Perfect for the home carpenter, electrician, plumber, and pest controller. Warm yourself by the glow of a single baseboard heater. Leaky skylight feature, perfect for those hot summer months. Don't like your in-laws? No problem, there's no room for guests. With 0.19 of an acre, cutting the lawn never seemed so easy. All this can be yours for the bargain price of $1.2 million. Come feel the magic. Call it resilience, call it stupidity, call it what you will. Our new plan is to sell our city loft, our first dream home, to freewheel and loosen up cash flow, enabling us to strike fast on our future dream home. We want to spend more time here. But more on that later. As non-natural risk takers, this action feels scary. So to counter these feelings, we've started an instruction manual to help us navigate step by step, contingency by contingency. A lot is uncomfortable, but I guess that's a sign of change, or at least the opposite of complacency. The idea being that you have to leave where you are to get where you're going. This applies to our literal sensibilities as well as our philosophical tendencies. Which brings us to the mindset we are now striving to embrace and have faith in. What you're seeking is seeking you. We often go for walks. Walking is such an energy-shifting exercise when the world is closing in on you or when the air gets stale. We often find that the answers are out there, whether in nature or the city. In the city, our walks often end up with a stop for beer somewhere. Granville Island is basically our backyard, and we've spent a lot of time sitting on hillsides with our dog and friends. When I first moved here, I worked on Granville Island for years. It has always provided a sense of familiarity and comfort to me. Back then, I lived on Commercial Drive with 3 roommates, and I used to fantasize about living in our building in the neighborhood we are now giving up. But people change, and so do priorities. The life we have both lived here has been fun, fulfilling, and greatly successful. But as life goes on and you hopefully grow as a person, you inevitably stop, look around, and find yourself less satisfied with your once fantasy life. It has been hard to get our minds around starting over when we have so much, but this past year has reminded us that we want a life according to our wants and needs, which are becoming more pronounced by the minute. Our potential gains have come to outweigh our potential losses. hardly know it. Tastes like that, does it? Anyway, good.
Drop the deadbolt.
We love sitting around a campfire. We love building it, tending to it, listening to it crackle, the warm glow. This propane fire pit has brought a touch of real fire charm to our daily city life. It was another lockdown edition. We spend a lot of time out here. So you get the idea. We have felt the inkling. We have tried to answer the call in a toe-dipping, risk-free approach, and now we're ready to jump in. Let go of what we have, surrender to possibility. After all, fortune favors the bold. But we haven't told you our laundry list of wants yet. In addition to a hyper-frenzied market and other obstacles that have been out of our control, we are also asking for a lot. We do insist upon a rental or money in our budget to build one, an acreage, a garage or shop or money in our budget to build one, a home that we feel was built with love or at least intent, and a new criteria we've added in this year is to be mortgage free. I know it's a lot to ask, but we're willing to work for it. We both have developed confidence in our capabilities through building and fixing many things together. This is the kind of work we love, getting our hands dirty, learning, working together. So the house doesn't have to be built by a master carpenter with high-end finishings. We just want a good layout, a mudroom, a pantry, a closet. Sorry, closets are a touchy subject to those who have lived without for 10 plus years. We would love to build our own house, but the cost to do so is far beyond our means. We are willing to put in sweat equity. In fact, that's also part of our insisted criteria. We've just managed to carve out our needs for the life we want to start building, and these are them. Rentals are in notoriously high demand on the Gulf Islands, which is where we are specifically looking at moving to, hence why we haven't started that way. We are fortunate to have a place of transition to stay in, a family member's 90-year-old rustic cabin. We have spent the last 2 summers there working on the property, as well as a few stretches in the spring and fall. The cabin is a haven and a magical place, but it is rustic. There is a hose for plumbing in the warmer months. In winter, you haul your water. There is no insulation, and it has a stove and fireplace that are a little worse for wear. The only winter we stayed in the cabin, we had both fires going full speed. Feeding them was a full-time job, and we could still see our breath inside after 3 hours. But it is beautiful and has an old relic of a fridge from the 50s that just keeps on trucking and refreshing us in the summer months. There's also a propane stove and the most beautiful outhouse you've ever seen. All this to say, we are very grateful and fortunate to have access to this place, but it isn't a long-term solution to our soon-to-be homelessness. Hopefully our plan works and we manage to find our home, or vice versa, before the weather turns. We originally planned this project finding a way for the post-move portion of our lives. But we realize that this part is important too. Though uncertain and uncomfortable, we thought that sharing our journey from this point might prove beneficial to others realizing their own dreams, or at least be interesting to watch. So we'd like to invite you to join us on our adventure. I'm Megan.
And I'm Neale.
And this is Finding a Way.